I've got the top 10 best fantasy basketball players for the first half of the season coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. I'm going to count down the top 10 best players in fantasy basketball leading up to the NBA All-Star break. If you like this content, please smash that like button, and a special thanks goes to all of our subscribers who have been watching these videos, as you now account for almost 20% of all viewers. To the other 80% of viewers that haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so, as it helps me create these videos for you. Also, leave a comment on a player that you think deserves to be on this list. This episode is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy Sports. Use the promo code BEATTHEODDS to double your first deposit up to $250. And first-time users get a free square. Like last Tuesday, if you bet on LeBron to score 1 point, and he did, then you win. Now let's dive right into the list. At number 10, we have Jason Tatum, 36 minutes per game this season, 27.1 points, 8.6 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 3.1 threes, 1 steal, 0.6 blocks, 2.5 turnovers on 48% shooting from the field and 82% from the line. The key cog on the deepest team in the league, Tatum's numbers would be higher if he was playing on any other team. That makes Tatum's floor enticing for fantasy purposes. He's going to have a difficult time cracking into the top 5 discussion because he isn't a nightly triple-double threat, and he isn't elite at the stripe. But if you landed Tatum in the first round this year, you should be pretty pleased with his production so far. Let's go to number 9. We have Paul George, 34 minutes per game, 22.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 3.3 threes, 1.6 steals, 0.4 blocks, 2 turnovers on 46% shooting from the field and 91% from the line. Health has been the key to Paul George's fantasy success. If he plays 254 minutes this season, or about 7.5 more games, he will have played the most minutes in a season that he has ever played wearing a Clippers uniform. There is a reason why the Clippers are amongst the elite teams in the West, and George's contributions this season should go a long way to a successful playoff run. Let's go to number 8. We have Chet Holmgren, 30 minutes per game this season, 16.7 points, 7.6 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.7 threes, 0.7 steals, 2.6 blocks, 1.6 turnovers on 54% shooting from the field and 77% from the line. Arguably the biggest surprise on this list, Chet has been everything and more to an up-and-coming OKC squad. Playing Robin to SGA's Batman, Holmgren has been a much better shooter than most would have imagined out of the rookie. It is very possible that he won't be on this list at the end of the year, but the way that he's playing, it wouldn't be a shock for him to make a regular occurrence on this list for years to come. Let's go to number 7. We have Donovan Mitchell. This season he has 35 minutes per game, 28.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 2.1 threes, 1.9 steals, 0.5 blocks, 2.8 turnovers on 47% shooting from the field and 86% from the line. Sparta has had to battle numerous roster injuries that has spurned discussions of a possible trade, but has shown that he can be the alpha on a dominant squad when the team is healthy. I predict his scoring to decrease a little bit, but his assist numbers and his percentages may see a bump now that the starting lineup is back to full strength. Let's go to number 6. We have Kevin Durant. This season he's got 37 minutes per game, 28.2 points, 6.6 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 2.3 threes, 0.9 steals, 1.3 blocks, 3.2 turnovers on 54% shooting from the field and 87% from the line. KD seems to find his way onto top 10 lists whenever he is on the floor. He's another player that has surpassed our expectations with regards to his availability for games. KD has outpaced both Bradley Beal and Devin Booker in games played this season and has blessed us with his usual productive, highly efficient scoring. He needs 8 more games to surpass his largest total of games played in a season since his Warrior days. Moving on to number 5, we have Luka Doncic. 37 minutes per game, 34.2 points, 8.8 rebounds, 9.5 assists, 3.9 threes, 1.4 steals, 0.6 blocks, 4 turnovers on 49% shooting from the field and 78% from the line. Turning 25 at the end of this month, Luka has cemented himself as the most productive guard in the NBA. His status as the best overall point guard right now may be in question, but he's certainly in that discussion as well. Shooting better than 80% from the stripe would help his cause, but his impact on an imposing Mavs squad is unquestionable. Picking up some extra pieces at the deadline should only increase Luka's assists. Let's go to number 4. We have Kawhi Leonard, 34 minutes per game, 24.1 points, 6.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 2.3 threes, 1.7 steals, 0.9 blocks, 1.6 turnovers on 53% shooting from the field and 89% from the line. The Claw has re-entered the conversation as the top two-way wing in the league. There is very little to pick apart about his game. He's got excellent splits, his mid-range is unguardable, and he still posts elite stock numbers, and best of all, he hasn't been load managed this year. Most of us didn't count on Kawhi playing 60 games this season, so those who took the risk in drafting him are being rewarded handsomely. Moving on to number 3, we have Anthony Davis. This season he's got 36 minutes per game, 24.9 points, 12.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 0.4 threes, 1.1 steals, 2.5 blocks, 2.1 turnovers on 55% shooting from the field and 81% from the line. It's funny how the NBA landscape has changed this season with all the superstars in the league suiting up for their teams. AD joins Kawhi, KD, and PG-13 as players at high risk of missing games who have defied their critics and laced up their shoes this season. Hopefully putting the glass label behind him, AD has been a beast this year, continuing his success of posting 25 points per game with elite rebounding and block numbers. Let's move on to number 2. We have Nikola Jokic. Over the course of the season, he's got 34 minutes per game, 26.1 points, 12 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 1.1 threes, 1.2 steals, 0.9 blocks, 2.9 turnovers, on 58% shooting from the field and 81% from the line. With Embiid out, Jokic reclaims the title of the best center in the league. Having an entire offensive system run through him allows him to put up some very impressive stat lines. Few players, and even fewer centers, have displayed the ability to see the court the way Jokic can. He forms a formidable duo with Jamal Murray and should continue to produce at a high rate as Denver jockeys for top seeding in the West. And finally, at number 1, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This season, he's got 35 minutes per game, 31.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 1.2 threes, 2.2 steals, 0.9 blocks, 2.2 turnovers, on 55% shooting from the field and 88% from the line. Is Shai really the number 1 player in fantasy? Well, let's dive in. What does he have going for him? He scores 5 more points per game than Jokic, who would be his main competition for the number 1 spot. SGA also has a solid 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. He rebounds really well for a guard, and he's blowing away the field in steals. Plus, his percentages are phenomenally good. He's the number 1 player in both per-game numbers and season totals. I don't really see his ranking changing, and he may be the first player off the board in next year's drafts. And that's going to do it here for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video and, of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm going to sign off for now, but I will catch you guys on the next episode.